Saudi Arabia revealing a cut extension that can be extended or extended and deepened. So what are the Saudis responding to?
I mean, the give me more, I think, is what the market is responding to. I mean, I think the Saudis have showed that they are continued to their resolve to basically, stabilize this market or, extend the visible inventory draws that traders need to see to have confidence in the oil market. I think they've been very focused on sentiment in the market, changing sentiment. Remember how bearish we were, Dan, in June after that OPEC meeting? There was a sense that perhaps the Saudis were responding to demand concerns, and really was this a sign of some really big worries in the market? But now we've had these big inventory draws. I mean, a monster inventory draw this week in the United States. And so I think sentiment has really turned around on the back of the Saudi action.
And Helima, the Biden administration we know is in SPR buyback mode, or so we thought. How is this extension being received in Washington, and what is the energy diplomacy strategy right now? Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting because, for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about SPR buybacks, and the Department of Energy was out this week saying they're going to take a pause on that. Now, no one is expecting any more monster SPR releases. And so the Biden administration has to fall back on the tried and true strategy of when oil prices and retail gasoline prices rise, you better make the phone call to Riyadh. And Amos Hochstein has made a number of trips to the kingdom, over the past couple of months. There's going to be a very, very big diplomatic meeting in the country over the weekend over the Russia-Ukraine situation. So I don't actually expect this to lead to the type of breakdown in relations that we saw in October when the White House was furious about the 2 million barrel a day OPEC cut. I think right now it's going to be sort of quiet diplomacy behind the scenes, but they have a whole bunch of other issues that they're working with the Saudis on. So again, I think the bilateral relationship is in a much better place despite these OPEC and Saudi production cuts.
You're exactly right. Narrative shift. And it does seem as if the Biden administration is seemingly okay with some of Saudi Arabia's most recent moves. Helima, what about over on the Russian side? Because we've had commentary here as well. Deputy Prime Minister Novak saying Russia is going to continue to cut oil exports now by 300,000 barrels into September. Do we have any clarity on what that is actually going to look like?
I mean, Dan, remember, again, back to June when there was so much skepticism because people kept saying, look how much Russian oil is on the water. Look at these seaborne exports. Look what they're doing in terms of subbing their barrels into Asia. Right now, we are actually seeing, visible reductions in Russian exports. So I think that is another factor behind the confidence in the market that the oil market is tightening. Now, we just have to see, of course, whether these export declines continue. Russia certainly needs revenue, but I think they also need the higher price that comes from collective OPEC plus action. So the question is, everyone's going to be watching, does this trend line continue? But for now, I think the fact that you had Novak come out and say almost simultaneously with the Saudi statement that Russia would also continue their unilateral reductions, it's also showing that there's not much daylight right now between these OPEC plus superpowers. And that had been the real question was there some type of behind the scenes rift, again, because Russia was taking market share in Asia. So I think the optics that they're trying to present is that they're better together.